I'm not gonna lie. I personally think the best news of this week was that Pokemon Alpha Sapphire and Omega Ruby are gonna be the best games ever. You can have you seen that? You can freely fly around the entire continent in 3D. Have you seen that?
That's pretty cool. Although I'm not entirely sure if I'm going to buy this one. I'm kind of Pokemon'd out.
Pokemon out, man.
Yeah.
Well, it's annualized. It's annualized now, son.
I know. I think that's a massive error. I mean, don't get me wrong.
However, I'm so ready. I'm
like
so
Pokemon,
ready.
But it's just they need to have a bit of a long, hard look at themselves, I feel.
Yeah, and I need to have a long, hard play of that game. But I'm going to have the soul-crushing... I'm almost certainly going to have the soul-crushing, like, disappointment of being sent a lone copy.
Almost definitely.
Raising all those Pokemon.
Yep.
Giving them back.
No. You might be able to transfer them into your Pokemon bank.
Yeah, I'm hoping that the servers for that game will be able to run it. Because if they are, I can save them.
Yeah, reliable servers. That's something
That's the
we've
Nintendo.
seen an
That's the
abundance
Nintendo
of.
way. That's how Nintendo rolls. Robust online infrastructure.
It could be worse, like
Driveclub.
It could be Driveclub. Do you know what? The thing in all of this, I don't understand. I really don't understand how the big sites can have the gall to stand by their reviews right now.
They haven't. Have you seen Polygon have updated their Driveclub reviews?
Of course they have.
They're not standing by their reviews. They put out reviews that they're not willing to stand by. That's even worse.
It's terrible. Do you know what? Like, there's a really important point to be made about reviews, and do you know what? Like, we need to. I really think we've started doing it on site. With the whole the review process and marking that with multiple articles along the way, and then delivering a review. After an adequate amount of time. I mean, like we did it with Destiny. We've done it with MMOs sort of over the last couple of years, but we're starting to see it more. I mean, and it's partly to do with the fact that we're a small team, but like a sliding review scale that makes a mockery of your reviewing system is not the answer. Like, they did it with SimCity and we laughed then, and we're still laughing now at you, Polygon.
Yeah, but they're
still getting away with it.
Yeah, but their reviews are so beautiful. They're so wonderfully arranged, and they're all those little animated bits.
That's the thing that gets me. It's the fact that they get away with it, and developers still love them. That's what annoys me.
It's really annoying, and it's really anti-consumer as well.
Exactly. It's the fact that people still visit them. Still.
But it's all part of this. It's the pre-order, me first, get the thing out as soon as possible culture that needs to die in a ditch.
I can't. Oh, where was it? There was an article that was talking about that and the fact that reviews, as they are kind of a dying breed.
That was one of the Rab Florence ones.
Yeah, it was Rab Florence's one on Alien Isolation.
That's it. Yeah.
And he was basically like, the reviewers who've rushed this out haven't taken the time with it. They haven't had the experience that a regular gamer's going to have, and he's absolutely right.
Yeah.
I mentioned it actually in my review. It took a little longer because I had to leave and come back and leave and come back and leave. I didn't force myself to go through it. I hate doing that with games.
Absolutely.
Don't get me wrong. There are games that I will like blitz through as much as I blitz anything because I'm quite a slow gamer. But like there are games I will play for hours upon end, like for most of a day, right? Like without really taking many breaks. Don't do that, kids. It's bad for your eyes.
Mm-hmm. But it's what we do.
but that's the thing. Like I would have done that if I'd bought the game. I would have done that if I was in any other profession and that was a game that I wanted and gone out and bought, and I still would have done that same thing. So in that respect, it's honest. I don't mind it. But like. I fucking hate, like, rushing reviews is the worst practice in the industry, and it happens everywhere, especially at the big sites.
Mhm.
And there's just, and the whole thing, like we had this with SimCity. If you're gonna review an online fucking game, review the game when it's out in public, right? Review the game when the servers are being tested and stressed by, you know, the consumers who are reading your site. Because doing a review of an online game or a game with online features in an enclosed space is utter wank, and it's disingenuous, frankly. It's dishonest.
Mm-hmm.
At the very least, you can do a scoreless launch review. You can do launch impressions.
Absolutely.
Yep.
There's nothing wrong with that. You can get content out for launch. You can get useful content out that can help inform consumers who are on the fence.
I think it's what we did.
Upfront. Yeah, we often do that.
I think we did. In the case of SimCity, that is what we did.
That's exactly
you did a launch review and gave it. I believe you did have a score on that review though.
No.
I gave the launch a 0.
You gave the launch a 0. Yes.
0 out of 10.
But
slightly facetious, but actually fairly accurate.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. By all means, like, release a review event impressions, if anything, or like review the review event if you have to. But like, it's massively important that the big sites disclose the environment under which those reviews are given, because in closed spaces like that for online games, you're just not going to be able to simulate the same sort of experience that Joe Public's going to get. Yep. And that means you're essentially lying to your consumer fan base, which is ridiculous. So yeah, I don't like that.
That's pretty obvious, Matt.
Yeah.
I get the feeling, I get the impression that you're not a fan.
This is also why we haven't brought you a review of Driveclub, because as Brendan has been tweeting throughout the week, like, there's like half a game to review.
It's a tough question though, because there's also the logic that you've got to review the game you've got. Yeah. I mean, how long can you? How long should you wait? Should you do a single player review? This is completely rhetorical, but I mean, at some point you do have to review the game you've got. Otherwise, you know, we'd never review anything. I mean, there are always going to be patches for stuff.
And this is silly season. Like, we've got to move on to the next one. Like, I don't want to rush. Like, there are games backed up.
I think we'd like feedback on this would be good.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely. These are rhetorical questions that actually we'd like to get answers about, or like your opinions about.
Yeah. What is, in your opinion, an adequate length of time, I guess, post-release, to allow for a game like Driveclub to try and fix things? And this is the thing, it's even more of a mess, because we spoke about this last week and we said it was a bloody shambles, and it's somehow become even more of a mess. So, like, you know, the compensation's been mentioned, which is, man, that's it must be pretty bad. It's definitely not an issue with the servers. Evolution have said it's bugs in the netcode that are doing this.
Yeah, you see, I gotta say, the idea of compensation is quite pleasing, but I don't think it really goes far enough. This is a situation in which I feel a full product recall is probably warranted.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. In any other industry, this product would be recalled.
Yeah.
And I know it's difficult with video games because you've got the issue of some of the copies being digital, I guess, and you've got lots of different retailers. But like the very least that should be happening now is quibble-free quibble-free refunds.
Absolutely.
Regardless of where you bought it from, even if you pre-ordered it on PSN and pre-purchased it. Why would you do that? I don't know. But even if you did, you should be able to get your money back immediately without any hassle whatsoever, because it doesn't work.
Yeah, and I mean, like, the thing is, like, the single player stuff, you know, it's very old school, but it works. They could have, I mean, it would have been difficult on disc, but they could have just released kind of that at like a half price point if they really, really wanted to get something out like right now, and then sort of done a beta. Maybe, guys, that's a really good idea. If you have an online game, do a beta. Stress test your servers, sort out your netcode. I mean, it doesn't always work. Look at Battlefield 4, but you know, it would have helped. You would have thought, and then they could have been honest about it, been upfront about it, and said, look, we're having issues with the multiplayer side of things, and with all the stuff we want to implement here, because it's super revolutionary and amazing, apparently, allegedly, maybe.
It's auto log,
but it'll be there soon. Yeah.
But look, here's the thing. They have confirmed that a huge patch is on the way, and it's going to fix the game completely. It's coming out in November, and it's called Project Cars. So that's how it stands.
You have to pay more for it, but
you guys have seen that they have delayed that till next year, right?
Really?
Yes, Project Cars is coming out next year.
God damn it! Well, they've got a loser of the week right there. That sucks, but it's fine if they need extra time. I guess that there is another workaround, I guess, but it involves buying an Xbox One and Forza Horizon 2. So it's quite a costly one.
Yeah.
But arguably a worthwhile one. Anyway, I can't wait to see. It's like I said last week, I can't wait to see if the crew launches smoothly and spectacularly.
It was going to be such a good winter for driving games, and then Driveclub doesn't work. F1 turned out to be just copy and paste wank, and I mean, oh god, the crew, please work, please.
Do you know what game does work really well? What driving game does work really well online?
Mario Kart.
Yeah, obviously Mario Kart. On the 3DS even, it's kick ass.
It's
Mario Kart 7 or 8.
It's amazing.
Brilliant.
And like highlight reels, Mario Kart TV. It's
perfect. Now that is proper socializing. I also love the way that you can only say nice things in between rounds.
Yeah, right. It's just a really lovely, competitive but lovely environment.
Yeah, there's that great Penny Arcade comic that's you're fuming like because you've been overtaken or blue shelled at the last second, and you're cussing in these horrific epithets, and all you can say is like, "Good luck."
Oh man, I love Mario Kart.
Yeah.
So
but no, so at some point, oh man, that sucks about Project Cars, but well, Driveclub, at some point they will release the free version of Driveclub, and it will be free, and it will obviously be worth downloading because it's free, and you might as well.
Yeah.
It just, for me, Driveclub just seems like, I'd love to be proven wrong, but for me it just seems like a tech demo that's released a year too late. I mean,
that doesn't work.
But it's mainly showing. Who are we kidding? It's there to show off the graphics of the PS4. And here's the thing: I don't think there's anything wrong with that. A new console should launch with or get an exclusive racing game in its first year to show off the graphics. That's one of the main reasons that we like circuit races.
This be true.
So,
this be true. I was agreeing. Yeah.
Yeah. So, at some point, when the free version, surely when the free version comes out. I'm slightly hesitant to say when with a clear conscience, but hopefully by the time you're listening to this podcast, it'll be out. Everyone will be playing it, making the Deals Pwn Club, just having a great time. In fact, Brendan's already set up the Deals Pwn Club, the Omni Shambles. So be sure to join it. Also, just a slight call to arms on Forza Horizon 2. There is a Deals Pwn Club on that. We've got our own custom livery, which I spent a frankly irresponsible amount of time designing. It's the Deals Pwn D with the shadow and everything. It's very cool. You can download that. And I believe at the time of speaking, we have one other member who's Swiss, however you pronounce that. One of our regulars.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed being top of the leaderboard until he joined. So there is that. But so if you do have that, do join our I don't know how often I'll be around, but we're all about comic mischief and driving around doing cool road trips.
Woo.
When I get to play it, which is never. So there's that.
That's some positive recruitment there.
It works, and if I had time to get online, I can.
That's yep.
Join today.
Right, so let's leave Driveclub behind. I want to talk a little bit about something else we talked about last week as well. This whole parity thing, like console parity for multi-platform games. We discussed the whole thing with Assassin's Creed, and I just want to touch on a little bit of corporate trolling here. Some great corporate trolling here from EA and BioWare and Dragon Age Inquisition, who has tweeted out that they, it's going to be 1080p on PS4. It's going to be 900 on Xbox One, and the simple sentence underneath was, we optimize for each console.
You know, it's pretty bad when EA is scoring points on.
Right?
Yeah.
That is a sign that things have gone seriously wrong. The only other company that's ever been able to score points off is Zynga.
Oh God!
By promising to sue them,
Oh yeah.
That's the sort of level Ubisoft. And the fact is, yeah, Ubisoft have been caught out. They, instead of being honest and upfront, we've said this at every stage. My problem isn't actually with the parity. It's the way they've phrased it in the idiotic, increasingly intellectually offensive ways that they've tried to defend
totally.
it.
Absolutely.
The bullshit spewing out of them. It's good. It's good that they've been called on it. It's embarrassing, and they should just up their game and or say, hey, the game's going to be great. This is as good as we can make it to contain all the features that we want. And we're not willing to compromise the game in other ways.
Yeah.
That's all they need to say. In fact, all they needed to say was, we couldn't get it running at 1080p on PS4, but maybe we'll patch it if we can down the line. Maybe.
But they didn't.
No, I mean,
we had the rant from last week, and that's
pretty much it. I'm not apoplectic with rage like I was last week. I'm just disappointed in Ubisoft. It's just so
You're not cross.
But you know what? Fair play to EA for just doing that.
Oh God, fair play to EA.
I know, right?
No.
Right?
No, Ubisoft sort it out. We never want to have to say that again on this podcast. But
we do. We want EA to sort their game, to sort their sort of.
I think it's very brave.
Out.
Admittingly, it's kind of like it's putting a lot of attention on Inquisition now, isn't it? Because it's kind of like, oh yeah, we've got it up on PS4, but we just got to hope that the game's actually, good. Otherwise, what is all that graphics for? What's it for if it's rubbish, basically?
It does look good.
It does look
I'm
very good.
So it looks really, I don't know, it looks kind of good, but everyone's is really shiny. Have you noticed that, how shiny everyone seems to be?
It's very. They're running about. They're sweating. Like
yeah, but even people
sweaty
indoors,
magic.
even like just people like sitting around, it looks like everyone's been laminated.
They've just been running around. Of
It's
course, they're sweaty.
laminated.
They're just calming down, like cooling off. A bit sweaty. That's all it is.
It's just like Carl's pits in Guild Wars 2.
Yeah, refreshing.
So grim. But nowhere near as refreshing. When Carl unleashes his whistling pits, I feel refreshed and
I
revitalized.
know when to unleash
Dragon Age,
it
I
and
feel
when
I need
not to.
When I look at like Dragon Age Inquisition, I feel like I need to take a shower.
And then go, refreshing. Yeah.
Yeah, shower in your cleansing armpits, rain.
Yes.
That's gross.
Yes.
But
But it's nice.
isn't it nice?
No, it isn't. Right, sticking on the subject of parity, I want to talk a little bit about Microsoft's continued defense of their indie parity clause. Now, John, you are both our Xbox One correspondent and chief indie guru.
Yes.
Do you buy into this notion that Phil Spencer's been sort of hoiking about over the last week? The parity clause makes players feel first class on Xbox One when it comes to indie games?
No. No, I mean, this has been the party line for as long as I can remember. And back in the day, I suppose it used to make sense, because getting onto sort of console marketplaces was actually very difficult. And Microsoft was at the forefront of that. And they were getting and vetting great games onto XBLA, pushing it forward. Games, the real formative games. Your Braid, Super Meat Boy, Geometry Wars, and it made sense back then, pretty much because they were the only people doing it. But now it makes no sense, because stopping us from playing indie games that we would be able to play and that we can play on other platforms doesn't make us feel first class. It makes us feel like we aren't getting any games. I can't think of a way to put it any more simply than that, but stopping us from getting indie games because of some weird notion that it makes us feel better makes absolutely no sense. It's the exclusives. Now, don't get me wrong. I do feel like I'm first class. I do feel like I'm first class owning an Xbox One, because we're getting kick-ass AAA exclusives right now. Whether it'll be the same a year from now, I don't know. But right now, I mean, Forza Horizon 2, again, I hate to bang on about it, but it is really good. Getting Halo the Master Chief Collection, if that isn't a first-class HD compilation, I don't know what is. Sunset Overdrive, please be good. Please be good. I feel like it has the potential to be good. But when it comes to indie games, no one benefits by making it more difficult for developers, good developers, hard-working developers who hit quality standards to get their games onto your console. Because here's the thing, Microsoft, the PS4 has already outsold you at least 2-1, judging by the latest figures. So making it more difficult for devs to get on your platform, now that it's more likely that they'll prioritize the PS4 version because they'll sell more on that platform, is just a stupid idea.
Yeah, it's also the stick rather than the carrot. Like, Microsoft need to incentivize developers to release on Xbox One rather than just saying, if you don't do us alongside PS4 or before, no, you're not coming in.
And yet they make exceptions. They make exceptions all the time. You know, like Outlast, that came to Xbox One last, ironically, I suppose. But I mean, they are kind of flexible. They just need to get rid of this whole parity clause thing. It's stupid, and just treat every game on a case by case, is it good enough basis. We don't want Xbox Live turning into Steam. That's not necessarily a thing we want happening. Although, yeah, I love their Discovery update, but it's just one thing. It's just the last thing I think that Spencer needs to address. I think Spencer has done a brilliant job as head of Xbox already. I think that pretty much everything he's done has been inspired, or well, not even inspired, just common sense, just good common sense that Matrix didn't even seem to figure out. Releasing games, making it cheaper, you know, making the Xbox One cheaper than the PS4 because, you know, it's a less capable machine. Good idea. Great looking games coming to the platform. This is just one last thing he needs to sort out. Like, stop defending it, Spencer. Just do better.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, ID at Xbox has been really, really great. It's been a fantastic initiative. There are loads of awesome indie games coming to Xbox One. Even more could be if this was just dispensed with. Because yeah, I don't see it doing anything positive, really. No one has.
And no one feels first class watching, you know, not being able to play Nidhogg on Xbox One doesn't make me feel first class. It makes me feel like I don't have the opportunity to play games that people who own a PS4 and a PC do.
Yeah.
They're first class. They get the games. It's a nonsense. Although, in a slight segue, it hasn't stopped Dungeon of the Endless being confirmed for Xbox One, and that's shaping up really nicely. And interesting coincidence, it also happened to be our latest game night. So you know, definitely go check that out because it's super topical and not at all an awkward bit of self-promotion.
I think it's fine. It's our own podcast. I think we can be like,
it's legal.
Watch that video. It's legit. It's totes legit.
It's too legit. It's a super legit game as well.
Mm-hmm.
It does look pretty sweet.
It's great. I mean, we can't review it though because like embargoes, but I've heard it's pretty freaking good. Awesome. But that's, you know, that's not a review though. Not a value judgment. It's just really, really good. Allegedly.
Right. From awesome things to controversial things. From alleged awesome things to controversial things. I think we should talk about this Hatred controversy. Now, Hatred is a game that has popped up from a gaggle of Polish developers called Destruction Creations.
Is that the collective noun for Polish developers?
A gaggle. A gaggle. No, it's specifically to smaller indie dev teams. A gaggle of indie devs.
Don't know.
A murder of indie devs. That would be topical in relation to.
It would actually be worryingly appropriate in this case. Yes.
It does sound pretty gruesome though, and I'm not. It sounds a bit. I'm not sure I want to call a group of indie devs a murder of indie devs.
Okay.
That could be construed badly.
How about a rabble?
No, it's too aggressive. See, a gaggle is a nice kind of. It sounds slightly silly. It's kind of yeah.
A conspiracy?
A
Conspiracy of-
conspiracy.
So I'm sorry. I had to. I couldn't resist. But no, it's yeah. Do you wanna just introduce hatred? I feel like we shouldn't really be giving it the traffic too much, but like,
Well, we're
do you
not.
want to
We're not
explain what it's?
running
Do you
news
want
post on it.
Yeah. Do you
know
want to explain what it's
Yeah,
about?
I'm going to get to this in a second. But okay, right. So yeah, Polish development studio Destructive Creations, which seems like an oxymoron, have announced an isometric shooter that is basically Postal 3. Basically, you violently slaughter a whole bunch of innocent civilians who protest and plead with you not to, and the only reason you're doing this is because your character hates humanity and probably himself. That's actually giving it too much context potentially.
Yeah, it's a
It's
effectively it's a massacre.
It's
Excuse me, it's a massacre simulator. Effectively, the word simulator is debatable. Excuse me, I've been got this hacking cough at the moment. Maybe edit this bit out. Sorry, it's made me
John's quite
physically ill.
about all of this.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is a game. It's a lot like Postal, I guess, in which the whole point is you are a nihilist who kills innocent people, and that's the point. That is the point as advertised.
Yeah.
And naturally, it's proving to be incredibly controversial.
What do we think?
Would you like to know what I think?
What do you think?
What do I think? I love the word ambivalent because it's 4 easy syllables that let you sort of say that I have absolutely no idea.
It's close to velvet as well. Like
I know, but in this case, I am fiercely ambivalent because on the one hand, I, as you probably worked out, do not like the concept of this game hugely. Personally, I find the idea kind of abhorrent, kind of disgusting, as advertised. I play games primarily for escapism and joy and creation, exploration, and none of those things. I don't like what that game's bringing to the table. But on the other hand, I think they should make it. I absolutely think they should make it.
why?
Because I don't think there's anything to be gained by saying that video games must not be allowed to cover certain subjects or source material. I don't think there's anything to be gained by doing that. I'm of the opinion that there is no such thing apart from a very small number of propaganda games for hateful interest groups. I don't think there's any such thing as necessarily a bad or forbidden concept that for a video game. I just think there are bad games, and I think that limiting, if we're serious about games being taken seriously as an art form, we shouldn't then turn around and say you can't make a game about that. We should actually be saying you should be able to make a game about that, and we will judge the finished article accordingly. Because there is a small chance that this game can be pulling a Spec Ops: The Line bait and switch. Not a high chance by the look of those, by the look of that trailer. But there is a possibility that this game could actually try and explore the increasingly topical and hot button issue of this growing nihilism, all these massacres that have been sort of happening around the world. Perhaps it's going to try and explore that in greater degree of depth. It probably won't, but if we shut this down, what will happen when a game that tries to do that comes out and tries to get developed? Will we shut that down as well? And here's the thing: I think we absolutely should. There's nothing wrong with disliking a game's content and perhaps even railing against it, especially since it seems that they're trying to court controversy. But as an industry, we always seem to step away. We always seem to fall in line with all these pundits who see games as toys and say, no, games must not cover these subjects. The Taliban must not be a playable faction in Medal of Honor. Sex in Mass Effect is a terrible sin. 6 Days in Fallujah is too tasteless and you must never make it. And we always kowtow to that. And I don't think it's, in any other form of entertainment or media or even art form, no subject is necessarily taboo. You should be able to cover anything. You should be able to take a swing at anything, and the end product should speak for itself. And if it's a piece of shit, then we'll destroy
We'll call it as a piece of shit.
But I don't think there's anything to be gained by saying they shouldn't make it. I think that's... I don't like the idea of that at all.
I think when you allow people freedom of expression and freedom of creativity and apply that to development in games, like people have to be free to make the games that they want, and then it's up to us as critics, as consumers, to basically say, why have you done this? No, that's not what we want, and then react afterwards. So yeah, I'm not a fan of telling people what they can and can't make. That said, yeah, personally, I think it's absolutely abhorrent. It's disgusting. It's awful. And although there is something to be said about, you know, how is this any different from Uncharted and from Gears of War and from things like that? Like, context matters, right? Okay, you can't just take tone and take context and take motive out of the equation and say, well, those games are exactly the same as this game if you take those things away, because those things matter. Like, they really do. And I think that this game in particular, Hatred, it runs the danger of kind of glorifying the very things, the acts of violence that happen in real life that are attributed to video games. And I'm not agreeing with Jack Thompson in any way. I'm not saying that video games cause violence, but I think that the violent acts that are perpetrated, like Columbine, that, you know, the shootings that are linked back by idiots in the mainstream media to video games. This game threatens to glorify those people. And that's a worrying thought. That doesn't sit well with me at all.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Like you say, there's the comparisons to Uncharted and Gears of War that have been thrown up, and to me, they're like more a sense of survival more than actually like going out and doing senseless slaughter. There was even the comparison to Grand Theft Auto and the fact, well, you've been doing that for years. You've been killing civilians for years in Grand Theft Auto. No, I haven't, actually. I actually try and play it to be as reasonable a person as possible when playing those games. And even so, like in the Grand Theft Auto series, the ability to, well, the fact that you could kill other people is seen more as a sideshow, I feel, than the actual objective. Like this, there's just nothing but senseless slaughter. In my opinion.
Yeah, let's not forget as well that, you know, you reap the consequences of your actions in Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah.
They will hunt you down.
Yep, and you will die.
And that's the thing. I think, like, people are writing off, like, defenders of Hatred are writing off context all too easily, I feel, because without context, it doesn't appeal to me at all. I think downplaying the importance of tone and downplaying the importance of motive and downplaying the importance of context is counterproductive, really. And yeah, I don't see particular value in a game like this. However, I do think it's going to open up some interesting discussions about violence in video games on a wider basis, because I mean, I didn't really need Hatred to start doing this, but I have started in recent years, as part of the review process, or like almost, when violent games come along and go, okay, why am I killing people? Why am I killing these folks?
That's what makes gaming such a potentially powerful medium for exploring exactly these sort of topics, but not in the way that they seem to be advertising.
No, and the thing is, like, some people have brought up No Russian, and I actually, do you know what? I think Activision courted controversy a little bit with it, which is a bit of a shame, because actually that level in Modern Warfare 2, I think it is quite an interesting little level. I think it does have artistic merit.
Yeah, it does. It challenges you, I think, more than a lot of much.
And it raises the question about, if you are undercover, if you are playing a role, well, you're technically, as a gameplay, you're playing a role within a role. It's like Inception role playing almost, because, you know, you're playing as a US serviceman undercover. How far will you go to protect that? Does it matter? All that sort of stuff. And like there is some real artistic merit in that. It was overplayed, and it was overplayed in the game as well, which I found that to be quite annoying. You know, with the whole warnings and stuff. But I think that's for me that's a line. It's does this have artistic merit? Does it have something that can I take anything away from this other than this feeling of sickness in my stomach? And is that the whole point? I don't really know. Either way, this game, yeah, it's not for me. I don't think we should ban it. I think it's abhorrent. It's disgusting, but the devs have every right to make it.
But that's the thing. I think they've got every right to make it. And even if they're just out to shock, there've been any number of films that have done exactly the same thing. Sometimes even glorifying serial killers in the process. And as I say, if it is an insulting, offensive piece of shit, the internet will crush it, and everyone will crush it. But I'd hate to see a game not get made because people are worried about what the uninformed mass media pundits might think of it.
Absolutely.
I'd hate that.
Absolutely. I think in an effort to try and legitimize gaming, there's a danger. We don't want to become the people we fought against back in the 90s, right? Like, we definitely don't want that to happen. And so I think in terms of freedom of creativity, we're going to get games like Hatred.
And hopefully better games. But no,
hopefully much better games.
I'm hoping, I've got my fingers crossed that Hatred is going to be the next Spec Ops The Line. I think it will be.
Well, I've got a thing that if, once it gets made, I look forward to seeing the first no-kill run of Hatred.
Yeah, and I'm assuming
just going around doing your day.
That game as well. I assume you're gonna get challenged in some way, and the police and the army will probably arrive at some point. But I'm not. It's not for me. It's not why I play games.
No.
But we'll see if it does. The thing is, context is important, but we don't have the context of the game in front of us right now.
Yeah.
And if and when it happens, we will be reviewing it in context, I suppose, and making sure that its tone and context are absolutely factored into the review.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, the moral of all of this is just do whatever you want. Buy whatever you want, for God's sakes. We don't care. It's your money.
It's your soul.
It's your soul, yeah.
That's an incredibly morbid...
You monster.
That's an incredibly morbid thing to end on. A happy thing to end on. We need a happy thing. Do we need a happy thing?
Probably need a happy thing.
Probably need a happy thing.
Well, I could just bring it back full circle to Pokemon.
Yeah!
I'll bring it back to Pokemon. A lovely game about underground animal fighting.
Slavery, animal slavery, right there.
We're all
Stockholm syndrome.
Cramming them into tiny balls and making them languish
Me,
prison. But here's the thing.
I didn't ask for this.
But you can fly. But you can fly around the whole Hoenn region on the back of Latios or Latios, and that's going to be amazing.
Yes, it is. That's going to be really, really sweet.
And also Mega Rayquaza.
Oh, that will be awesome.
Yes.
Thank you so much to everyone who stuck with us this far through this week's Game Buzz. Let us know what you think, what you make of the whole Hatred situation. Let us know what you make of Microsoft's indie policy, and let us know, as we said earlier, what you'd like to see from us in terms of our reviews process. If you got any suggestions, if you got any things you'd like to add, pop a comment in the box, and we will certainly take every single one on board. But yeah, that's it for this week's Game Buzz. We'll be back same time next Saturday with another. But until then, have a cracking weekend. We'll catch you then. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.